Yeah, I liked it out of Trey. How did you feel about that altercation at the end?
Well, let's go through it. Because it's an interesting thing. So Giannis is dribbling the ball up, and the best way to put it is he and Lyles crossed paths. Now, generally, what the Kings would have expected and what they would have wanted him to do, and maybe you can make the argument that maybe this is what he should have done, is just dribble it straight up and then dribble it out. No need to get in front of anybody. Now, I guess I couldn't help. I love when shit just hits the fan and everybody starts arguing over stuff. I mean, agent of chaos. And so I like going online and just kind of reading how all the fan bases stick to their side and just bicker at one another. But something that Bucks fans noted is that in situations like that, Giannis will sometimes dribble towards his bench and then I think like down the ball or something like that. And so they were pointing out that it seemed like he was just doing that. So that was just, like I said, they crossed paths. I get where both are coming from. I mean, Lyles took the swipe out the ball and he felt like he got his arm clamped down by Giannis. There's whatever happened there. He never said anything was personal with Giannis. And honestly, you can kind of pass that off as just like, okay, honestly, Lyles probably shouldn't have done that. And then when it gets interesting is like, because the thing that Lyles added there is a little shove at the end, which now I think Lopez would have gone up to him no matter what. But that little shove, all of a sudden, from an outside perspective, whether you want to agree with it or not, that now gives somewhat justification for him stepping in. And like I said in the game recap, and like you noted just a second ago, Brook Lopez was just, he was bickering at everything. And it was an intense game and everything like that. But it's just like, there's an energy to Brook Lopez that's just like,
it's like one of those guys you just like you look at him and you're like, I just don't like this.
Well, I don't know about that. But
he gives me that energy. Just like I just don't like looking at this guy. And maybe it's not his looks. Maybe it's just not his looks, but just like he just like frustrates me just watching him on the court. It's kind of pesky. He's always chirping and stuff like that. I'm just like I just do not like this guy.
Right.
And so I mean, if I'm feeling that way watching it, I can only imagine how the guys down low feel playing.
And you got to think about like how much Lyles was playing in that fourth quarter. I think he played practically the whole fourth quarter. He's battling on the boards. It was a physical game all game.
Yeah.
Like if Lopez was really smart, like Lopez obviously rationalized it. It's like, I'm going to stand up for my guy. But it's just like at a certain point, you have to draw the line. And again, now it comes where Lyles shoved him in the face. Open fist, no punch or anything, but shoved his face away. Which again, it's like, I kind of get where Lyles is coming from. That's the last thing you want to see is Lopez in your face, but maybe don't do that. And then like they started jostling at that point, getting all tied up, and it got broken up. And Lyles went to the locker room, which kind of gave me a sense that like he kind of felt like he shouldn't have done that last thing. But him and Fox made it pretty clear after the game that they were sticking to the whole idea that, well, if Giannis never would have dribbled in front of him, that would have never happened, which I kind of think is honestly, from an outside perspective, that's kind of a sorry excuse. I get where they're coming from, though, and I get that they're backing each other up and everything like that. I mean, like, especially between Fox and Lyles, recall that Lyles, I don't know who did it first. It was either him or Metu, but he was pretty quick to go to social media when Fox was lost out to Jaren Jackson in the All-Star game. So, like, and it's like, all that could have been avoided just from like so many different angles. But I guess the takeaway here is it's just like you can't push the guy's face away at that point. And
okay, so as a fan, I'm very happy with what Trey Lyles did. Like, screw Brook Lopez. Like, good. And the Kings, they shouldn't be like trying to defend Trey Lyles because Giannis shouldn't have been dribbling the ball up. Just say it for how it is. Fucking Brook Lopez deserves a shove to the face after he's chirping all night. Yeah, just Brook Lopez is just being a little bitch all night. And so I think he deserves a shove just for that as a Kings fan, right? I guess like from the coaching perspective and in this crucial stretch of games going down the stretch, of course you don't want Trey Lyles to get suspended. He did hit him in the face. We haven't heard anything yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if Lyles is suspended a game in games you need to win, right? So he's an important player on this team, obviously. So it's like there's two sides of it for me. Like there's one I'm like, yeah, like show some emotion. Like this team's here to win, and like they're frustrated and stuff. And like I get it. Like I think it's just different. Like I feel like if this happened like 2 years ago when the Kings were like 30-50 at this point, it's like why like what you're just mad because you suck. But it's like they're in the fight this year. They're in the hunt. It's like he's mad. He's just like, just get out of my face, dude. Like I just feel like they're showing emotion. And like I said, it's all about the record this year. So it just comes off a lot better that Trey Lyles is showing this emotion because he wants to win. He's pissed. And he's not going to put up with anyone's shit. So as a fan, I like seeing that. As people have been saying, he got that dog in him, right? And I feel like the Kings need some dogs on their team. Because I don't know. Sometimes I don't see it from Fox and Sabonis. So it's nice having that one guy who's going to stick up for you regardless. And I think that's Trey Lyles.
Yeah. And again, just to like make it clear, I kind of just see where both sides are coming from. And I kind of see also where it's like you crossed a line. Like Lopez should have been the bigger man. And then Lyles, like it's easy to say he probably shouldn't have pushed. He definitely shouldn't have pushed Lopez's face away. But like I like what Mike Brown said about it. He didn't really like comment or like condone or ridicule what Lyles did. He just said like when things are that intense, the tiniest thing can set someone off. It's all for the love of the game. Like, what are you going to do? I think there's an element to it that you're talking about where it's just like, I mean, Jason Anderson kind of got it out of him by asking it a certain way. But Mike Brown had a very quotable moment by saying, like, we ain't going to take shit from nobody. And I think that there's that greater element at play because you've seen it a lot, especially over the last month. I mean, like, think about the press conference with Fox and Monk after the second highest scoring game against the Clippers. You know, someone asked about like, oh, how do you feel about them having what? And no disrespect to anybody. It's just like, well, what about us? Like we don't give a shit. We don't give a shit what's going on over there. We care about what's going on over here. And I think that whole like demanding respect thing, I get it. I mean, like in a lot of ways, like I said, I get it. I get what happened, and shit like that happens all the time in the highest intensity. But there's my greater point is that come playoff time, there's a fine line between being intense and standing up for your guys or whatever, standing up for yourself, I guess, and then hurting your team. And the one thing that I thought of today, the day after the game was, and I'm not saying Trey Lyles is of the same importance to the Kings as Draymond Green is to the Warriors. But remember when the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead to the Cleveland Cavaliers?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not using this as an excuse for why the Warriors lost, but it definitely was a contributor. When LeBron James stepped over Draymond Green and Draymond responded, he stood up for himself and he got suspended for a game. And, you know, in a lot of ways, it's like, man, everybody, if you were not a Cavs fan or just a LeBron stan, like everybody could kind of see where Draymond was coming from. But at the end of the day, on the biggest stage, you can't put them in the position to kick you out. You can't put them in the position to, quote unquote, extend the series and make more money. You just can't put them in that position to get you kicked out. And Lyles may not be of the same importance to the Kings as Draymond Green is to the Warriors, but Trey Lyles is pretty damn important to the Kings. And you can see that in the fact that he's playing the fourth quarter last night. You can see that in the fact that when Domas gets into foul trouble late in the game, they go with the small five with Lyles over Metu. You see it in the fact that Lyles has arguably been the most consistent impact off the bench this season. You know, Monk pushes the highest ceiling. Davion Mitchell really brings that consistency on the defensive end. But on both ends of the floor all season, Lyles has been pretty steady line, and it's been a pretty high line at that.
I hear you. And my reaction would be different if it was the playoffs or if he was going to get suspended in like a big stretch. And I'm not saying this isn't a big stretch, but the Kings have been playing great basketball. They're going on a road trip. They play the Bulls. They play the Nets, who are, you know, not like easy win teams, but teams I think the Kings can beat in case Lyles does get suspended, right? And they're sitting not comfortably, but they're sitting decently at the, third seed now?
They were 3 games ahead of Phoenix.
Yeah. So I mean, it's still close and stuff, but if this was the playoffs or the Kings needed to win these next games, like I'd be a little more upset, right? So I think he chose a good time to do it, if any.
Yeah.
But circumstances definitely change it. Like if you did this in the playoffs and it was like Game 7 was tomorrow, I don't know if they suspend him, but Like if he had a chance to get suspended during the postseason run or a really important stretch of games or game, like, well, I'd be mad. Like, dude, like you got to hold your emotions together.
You're right. He picked a good time to do it. He probably learned a lesson. Now, will he do that when the stakes are way higher? There's a good chance he won't. I mean, I don't know if it's Brook Lopez again if they meet in the finals.
Finals preview
Just
Monday.
slug it out. Try to get Brook Lopez suspended.
Yeah, I know.